Hello and welcome to the Demo Game YouTube channel. I'm the Earth God and today we'll be sharing our tips on how to get gold as a jungler. So gold is the sweet spot for players who want to be decent at the game but who also want to earn those awesome end season rewards. Since I am a jungle main, I cannot speak for other lanes and how to get gold by playing them, but I can tell you how I got gold as a jungler. Also try to remember that I'm not the best jungler, of course. I recommend watching a lot of other people's content, but since I'm still not that good, I can relate to people who struggle to climb. Step number 1, choosing a champion. So this is probably the most important thing of all for climbing. To climb, you need to be able to be good with your picks. If you choose a different jungler each game, you're probably most likely subpar with them all instead of being really good with a few amount of junglers. A lot of players say that one tricks are bad, and I somewhat agree, but when you're still learning the game, you should abuse those champions, learn the game with them, and then branch out to other champions for a better champion pool. Now there's more than one way to climb, of course. This is the world's biggest game I'm talking about, and there are a bunch of different ways to climb. As a player who struggles to get better at the game, you must always be looking to adapt. A good way to find out a good jungle champion is to first look at the meta. The meta is currently like a support based jungler who can carry their team through ganking a lot while placing vision and supporting them in team fights. That's why you'll see a Mumu and Ivern with the highest win rate. If you look at my account, you'll see that I first started off with Shyvana. After a while, I decided to move on to Hecarim, which I played the most of, and I currently spam the hell out of a Mumu while I try to save up for Ivern. Now you can probably climb with any champion, but since I'm not that good yet, I'm only going to be talking about the champions I personally have experience with. So Hecarim was really good in my opinion for low elo. All you need for Hecarim is a lot of map awareness, and once you see a laner weak, you just E and ghost and one shot them. But unfortunately, I struggled to climb with gold with Hecarim because I just simply wasn't good enough with him to be able to continue on with gold. So I then decided to start playing the newly updated Amumu. Not only did he get me to gold, but restored my horrible MMR. I mean, like, I was in silver 1, but my MMR was a silver 3s. Now my MMR is for gold 4, even though I'm only gold 5, all because I played an easier champion who can gank a lot and who can lock down targets in team fights or provide peel. Step number 2, ganking. So ganking is really important. You need to be able to keep up with the enemy jungler while trying to make your own team ahead by ganking them and knowing after the ganks whether or not you can grab an objective while placing wards for your laners, because they don't know how to place wards, so they don't die as much when the enemy does gank. So the jungle role, in my opinion, is kind of like a big game of chess. By that I mean you must always know how to react to different situations. For example, if the enemy jungler camps top lane only and your laner is feeding, instead of listening to the player's pings or chat BM, mute the player and try to get mid and bot ahead by camping them and taking all the objectives you can on that side of the map. After your laner feeds more than 3 kills, it's probably a good idea to stay away unless another laner is willing to roam. As a jungler, you will most likely get flamed. You're gonna get flamed the most. I mean, for fuck's sake, everything is your fault, so you might want to mute your team when things go sour so you can stay positive. So when you gank, it's a good idea to always know what the enemy laner is capable of. Like, do they have ult? Do they have any escapes? And if they have flash or not. If you burn a flash while ganking, always go back for a return gank. If you complete a successful gank, make sure to push the wave unless the enemy laner has TP. Also, you must always ask yourself if you can grab an objective from that gank. Let's say for example you kill the enemy mid laner, and if your bot lane's wave is pushed to the enemy turret, you can go grab a dragon. If the enemy's wave is pushed to your bot lane tower, go for a gank with your mid laner and try to grab the tower and then grab dragon. Before you try to take down the tower, always make sure to ward, so if you do get counter ganked, you have more time to react. Step 3, team fighting. So team fighting is a really good way to climb low elo. When I used to play Hecarim, I would just make sure to E ghost into the carries who are out of position and then I'd ult towards my team. Always remember that depending on your status in the game, you're gonna have to adapt what you do in team fights. For example, if I fed my ass off or I didn't do well, I would wait for the enemy team to engage and then I'd only use my E and ult for peel on my carries so they could carry the team fight. When you team fight, you must always play in a way that even if your team doesn't exactly help you too much, you still end up not dying and having a big impact on the fight instead of just jumping in and dying instantly. It's also a good idea to realize your teamfight position. What I mean by this is if you're a squishy assassin, don't just jump in a 1v5 because you think you can get the carry. Wait for your team to engage and then follow up. You also want to be standing on the back side of the group instead of in front where you can get picked off. And also if you're like a hard CC tank, always go on the front lines. That's pretty much all I know for climbing to gold. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have learned something and continue to get better at the game. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment. I'll see you later.